My former wife took everything, our house, our kids, and through a sly legal move, even froze my bank account. She thought she'd obliterated my life, but from that deepest despair, I laid the groundwork for my comeback. I'm Daniel Cruz, and at 38, my world collapsed entirely. On a cold night, I found myself curled up in the back seat of my 2006 Honda Civic, parked in a dim corner of a Target parking lot on the outskirts of Denver. That small car had become my sanctuary after my divorce left me stripped of everything. Not just my emotions but my finances too. My ex-wife, Lena, was merciless. With a sharp lawyer and a judge who seemed captivated by her every word, she claimed our home, primary custody of our 2 children, and through some clever legal strategy, locked my accounts. It was as if someone had set fire to the life I'd carefully constructed, forcing me to watch it turn to ash. I hadn't eaten in 3 days. The only money I had was $347, gripped tightly in my pocket like a lifeline, not for food but for gas. A job interview loomed the next morning, and missing it would mean everything I'd lost would stay broken. The Civic smelled of old fast food bags, sweat, and hopelessness. Its seats were stiff, the air heavy with stillness. I kept wondering if driving off a bridge might be easier than enduring this. Then, a sudden knock on my window jolted me awake, my heart pounding. For a moment, I thought it was security telling me to move, or worse, the police. My breath caught. But as I sat up and looked through the glass, I saw her, lit by the faint orange glow of a parking lot lamp. She stood holding a grocery bag. She seemed to be in her early 70s, her coat frayed at the edges, her scarf patched in places. Her face carried the marks of a long life, weathered but kind, her eyes holding a warmth that stayed with me. I lowered the window an inch, just enough to talk. "Can I help you?" I asked, expecting a scolding. Instead, she gave a small, gentle smile. "Dear, I've seen you here for a few nights," she said, her voice tired but soft. "I work nights at the store. Every time I leave, your car's in this same spot. You look like you could use a friend." Before I could respond, she slipped the bag through the window's narrow opening. "Take this," she said. Inside was a warm rotisserie chicken, a fresh loaf of bread, an apple, and a thermos of coffee. My throat tightened with emotion. At the bottom of the bag was a small white envelope. She placed her hand gently on mine through the glass. "I've been where you are, dear, at rock bottom. It shows you who you really are and who really cares. You're not alone." With that, she turned and walked to her car, an old Honda even more battered than mine, and drove off into the night. My hands shook as I opened the envelope. Inside was $50 in cash and a handwritten note that read simply, "For gas, for food, for hope. Mary." No phone number, no expectations, just pure kindness. I broke down, crying so hard the windows fogged, because a stranger had shown me more compassion than my own family had in months. The next morning, I used that $50 to fill my tank and drive to the interview. Unshaven, wearing the same wrinkled shirt for the 3rd day, I showed up. Despite the nerves and exhaustion, I got the job. 6 months later, I had a small 1-bedroom apartment. Nothing fancy, with chipped paint and a leaky faucet, but it was mine. My fridge held food, my bed had fresh sheets, and my bank account had a modest but growing balance. Folded in my wallet was Mary's note, which I'd pull out whenever life felt too heavy. Its words bringing back the warmth of her coffee and her touch. 2 years later, I stood on firm ground, my life rebuilt piece by piece. One day, I took out Mary's note and knew it was time to find her, to thank her properly, to repay her kindness. I went back to that Target and asked, "Do you know a woman named Mary who worked nights here?" The younger staff shrugged, but an older cashier's face lit up. "You mean Mary Whitaker? She retired last year. I think she's on Maple Street." I found her address. When I knocked, she opened the door slowly, her hair grayer, her steps careful, but those same kind eyes met mine. "You might not remember me," I started, holding up her note like a treasure. "2 years ago you gave me this. You fed me when I was hungry, saved me when I was ready to give up. I'm here to say I made it, because of you." Her lips trembled, her eyes shone. "Oh honey," she whispered, pulling me into a hug that felt like home. I handed her an envelope with $5,000. "It's not enough," I said, my voice shaky. But it's a start. She smiled, shaking her head. I didn't do it for repayment, she said softly. I did it because someone once helped me the same way. That night, walking to my car, I realized angels don't always have wings. Sometimes they're just people in worn coats with tired eyes, offering small acts that keep others going. Inspired by Mary, I vowed to help someone struggling quietly each year, because one act of kindness can change not just a night but an entire life. Years later, my life took unexpected turns. The job I got after Mary's kindness wasn't glamorous, but it was steady, a logistics role at a small company. I saved carefully, eventually starting my own freight brokerage business. Through long hours and relentless effort, it grew. By 43, I wasn't just surviving. I was thriving with a comfortable home, savings, and my dignity restored. But success has its shadows. One evening, a letter arrived from a law firm. Lena, my ex-wife, was suing me. She'd heard through old contacts that I was doing well and claimed I'd hidden assets during our marriage, demanding a large settlement and higher child support. Despite my consistent payments, even when I could barely afford them, the nerve of it sparked my anger. This was the woman who'd left me with nothing, who watched me suffer without a care. Now she wanted more. The legal fight dragged on for months. Lena appeared in court with dramatic tears, painting me as a scheming tycoon who'd cheated her. Her lawyer used every trick, but I was ready. Rock bottom had taught me to keep records, bank statements, tax forms, receipts. My attorney tore apart her claims, exposing them as baseless greed. During one hearing, Lena leaned close and whispered, "You owe me this, Daniel. You wouldn't be here without me." I smiled, knowing the truth. I stood there because of Mary, not her. The judge threw out Lena's case completely, ordering her to pay part of my legal fees for the baseless suit. Her stunned look was a closure I didn't know I needed. After the hearing, Lena approached me in the parking lot, tears streaming down her face. "Daniel, please," she begged. "We can start over. The kids are older now. We can make it work." For a brief moment, the old pain stirred, but memories of those nights in the Civic, hungry, hopeless, abandoned by her, kept me grounded. "No, Lena," I said firmly. "I rebuilt my life once. I won't let it fall again." I walked away without turning back. That night, I took out Mary's note, its edges worn, the ink fading but its message lasting. For gas, for food, for hope. The greatest revenge wasn't beating Lena in court or proving her wrong. It was living well, moving forward, and passing on the kindness that saved me when no one else cared. That's what I've done ever since.